Killer Cali Fantasy Football.
We're doing this thing live.
I'm fucking ready. Clear out the wives and the children. It's time to get fucking wild. I'm glad the fire and the passion is real.
Everybody gets a little taste of the wrath of the podcast.
I'm gonna remember this fucking day, you bastard.
It's a good way to start the season right there.
Go fuck yourselves.
You just proved that you have never listened to one of these podcasts before. What the fuck are you doing?
We need to look at the real person to blame. These fucking guys going absolutely ape shit on you.
This isn't about picking friends. This is about picking winners.
That's stupid. How do you feel after getting your ass kicked?
Firing on multiple cylinders right now.
You bastard. That's gonna be a good one. I guess it's time to get this fucking shit started.
Let's get this fucking shit started. Let's do a little week 6 preview here going on. Just getting this in the nick of time before all the games actually start tomorrow, which is Sunday. So yeah, we are just gonna squeeze this little preview podcast in so people don't think that we're lazy.
Well, I don't think that's even possible. If anybody could ever look at a picture of me or a picture of you and say, how are these guys not the laziest fuckers in the world? But we're not. We're here. We're gonna be doing our previews like we said we would, and I guess we should just get started.
Yeah.
First on up, Sean. Who do we got?
Let's start with the big dogs in the league right now, aka the Lucky Stiffs. If you could have a collective team name for them, that's what I would call them.
The Lucky Stiffs. Does that mean I'm included in that group? Is that what you're saying? Am I one of those lucky stiffs?
I'll say you're like a lucky half chub.
Well, Hey, all right. This is what I'm not. Well, okay. Yes, I would consider myself a lucky stiff, and some of these guys were talking about a lucky stiff because we're all in the bottom as far as points against is concerned,
True.
except for Derek.
That's true. You're part of that club too. I am looking at that. All right. Yep. Good
funny,
call.
Funny enough, if we're talking about John and Derek, funny enough, Derek somehow, some way, even though he's had one of the higher points against, he's third right now in the league with 642 against. He's scored 643, so he's also one of the highest scorers in the league.
Yeah.
He's the second highest scorer in the league. So Derek is putting up a good fight. So
Derek is grinding for sure.
And John is also one of the is he top points?
John's
top points.
Top 4 at least. So you
can't
can't say too much.
And he's
there.
also, but he's bottom 4 in points against.
Yeah. So
and
that's yeah. Looking at Phil, Phil has basically 700 points against him, and then somebody like a John only has 536. I mean, that's 165 point difference. That's an entire week of like less points that John has. So yeah, that makes some sense there. You know why Phil is sitting at an unfortunate 1-4 and John's at a lovely 5-0, but only part of the reason. Only part of the reason. Only part
of the reason. We're gonna see. This is what week 6 is where we're at right now.
We're damn near halfway through the regular season here.
It's kind of crazy. Like football just goes by that just so quickly.
It does.
Baseball just lasts forever. Funny enough, I'm one of the few non-baseball fans in this league. Well, I guess that's because I'm a fucking Padre fan, and
yeah, that's
Jesus,
not helping you out at all.
Hey, I know we got some A's fans though, right? In this league, come on, Misha.
Yeah,
John.
I don't know what's up with that either.
Well,
that's rough times.
Yeah, it's rough for a few people all around. But okay, we're not here to talk about baseball.
Yeah,
we're here to talk about football. We're going to be talking about John and Joey.
John and Joey, yeah, battle of some two of the top 3 teams battling it out with each other right now, and none of them had anybody playing in the Thursday night game. Although it is notable that Joey got a little crafty with his lineup this week. It looks like, and took out his pretty consistent Phillip Rivers, took him out, playing against Denver. Definitely a tough matchup.
Yeah.
And I would say that definitely worked out so far in his favor. Only 13 points from Phillip Rivers. So So far, looking like a pretty smart play there. Hunter Henry not looking so good as far as working out in Joey's favor with a pretty
Well,
big game for him.
I don't. Well, see, the thing is if he has Travis Kelce back, I don't think Joey was going to start Henry. I mean, I guess he could technically have, slipped him into the flex. But at the same time, why would you want to be running with the number 2 tight end on a team if Gates is playing? Like, as a San Diego fan, I will say that Hunter Henry has looked legit. Now that he's a rookie. This is his first season on back, and the only reason he's been playing so much is because Gates has
been injured.
He's been, and even the games he's been in, he's only coming in for third downs and maybe some red zones, if that. But the thing is this kid's got hands like glue. He catch pretty much everything that comes his way, except for that one fumble that he had. Oh, God damn it!
Yeah, well, Rivers is liking to throw to him. It looks like.
No, and that's what I will actually say down the stretch is when he had 2 tight ends in, Gates and Henry were both going, he was looking more Hunter Henry's way than he was Gates' way. So that's something to think about, I think, down the line. I know Joey, if I had Travis Kelce and Hunter is a luxury, and if he's starting to really produce, then what are you going to do with them? So I don't know. That's something to keep down the line. I didn't realize that Joey also picked up Willie Snead.
He did, yeah. I was surprised. People here are definitely pretty aggressive on the waivers. If you're not producing for a couple weeks, then you're going to get dropped.
Yes, and Joey is the waiver like monster when it comes to
vulture.
Eating up all those all those picks. I'm pretty sure Hauschka because he was on bye. And now he's sitting on Joey's team against Atlanta. I don't know. We'll see how that ends up playing out through the year. But it's going to be an interesting one.
John's got a lot of injuries. Sorry to cut you off. I don't know if you were going the same direction there, but John's got a couple pieces to keep his eye on. It looks like with a few questionable players on his team.
Well, full on questionable? Did people practice? Like, what's going on
I think most
Eddie
of them.
Lacy?
I think most of them are going to play, but at the very least, they're a little banged up right now. So it's always just kind of something to keep an eye on. Never feeling as good when you got that Q sitting next to your guy's name.
It said Lacy was limited, but he did practice throughout the week. Limited for Rashad Jennings, limited for Alshon Jeffrey. So all the guys practiced.
Yeah. And
maybe in a limited fashion, but they were at practice.
I think they'll all play, yeah.
I think they'll. What worries me is when somebody says they're questionable and you're watching them, they don't practice all week.
Exactly.
That to me is like a big red flag. Okay, if they're not practicing, there's a really good chance that they're not going to be suiting on up. And he's got quite a few people on bye. So, he's rolling with Colby Fleener. God, both of you guys are running with former who the fuck are these guys, teammates. Colby Fleener, because Kyle Rudolph is out. Doug Martin is out. Jerick McKinnon is out. So he's running with a lot of new pieces.
Some pretty solid pieces, though.
Julio and Larry Fitz have been 2 of the best wideouts this year. Larry Fitzgerald is right now the 7th wideout. Julio is number 4. They're not scrubs. Who they have? So Larry's going up against Cardinals are playing New York.
I'm looking
Jets.
at the rankings right now, the opposing ranks, and John's got a pretty nice schedule for most of his team. Like Larry Fitz against the Jets, 31st worst defense against the pass, so that's a nice juicy matchup for him.
Well,
most of his matchups are looking really good, except for Rashad Jennings going up against Baltimore, second-ranked rushing defense, and Julio going against Seattle. That's always a tough matchup there, and they're the third-ranked defense against the pass so far this year. So a couple tough matchups, but he's got Tom Brady going too. Cincinnati has not been that great against quarterbacks, so that could be a nice play.
Yeah, no, he's got a lot of friendly matchups. Julio going up against Seattle though.
Yeah,
Uh,
that
they're
could be
the
tough.
they're the third rank against the wide receiver apparently
Yep.
according to ESPN.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I don't know. What about Joey though? Joe, what
Joey's
is
is a little
Joey's
more kind of
actual?
middle of the line. Looks like there's a good bit of red matchups and a couple greens too.
Yeah.
Chicago's defense has actually been pretty good this year, especially at home. So I
Mhm.
don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Usually, when Blake Bortles kind of does well, it's in the last quarter of garbage time when he just has no choice but to throw the ball around a bunch because they're losing by so much. But I could see
Yeah.
that. I could see that Jacksonville Chicago game being a pretty low scoring game. So, I mean, obviously, when your opponent's got Tom Brady, as John does, that's usually going to get the win on that position there. But I think it's a huge gap between Tom Brady and Blake Bortles this week.
Oh, I think there's a huge gap between Tom Brady and Blake Bortles.
Well,
Period.
anytime, but
Anytime.
even more so this week, just kind of based on matchups, just in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know. It's I think Joey's got a little bit tougher slate as far as his actual matchups are concerned, but at the same time, he's had a lot of really productive players.
Yeah.
Christine Michael been kind of not, I wouldn't say a surprise, but I would just say how consistent it seems. Even his first few games, like even though they were low, they weren't horrible. It was like 7 and 7.5. He's getting some yards down. He's actually getting some catches, like averaging about 3. He had 5 last week and a touchdown.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Joey's got the running back situation, beating John out for sure. I think
His
the wide
receivers
receivers
aren't
are
well,
pretty,
obviously
pretty
they're
good too.
yeah, they're good. They're not as good as John's are, but even still, Brandon Marshall has been
Yeah, he's been real good.
he's been pretty good. He had a couple disappointing games for the
the
most.
beginning
But
of the season.
Decker's gone out. Now Decker's done.
Yeah, we'll get to
I don't
that.
think anybody's going to be forgetting Brandon Marshall.
Nope.
I think it's going to be. I don't. I'm trying to think of another movie that I could fit it on in, but I can't. Okay, forget it.
Well,
All right, so
let's do Pickems on this one.
what do you think?
I think I have to give it to. Fuck, I don't want to give it to John. I just feel like his Tom Brady situation could be the factor that pulls him ahead. But God, I don't want either of these guys to win, so this is fucking difficult. I'm just gonna have to give it to John because of Tom Brady. I think otherwise it's so close if not for the quarterbacks.
It probably would be really close. The thing is like the teams sort of cancel each other out in a lot of positions. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Joey's so strong and running back, and that's exactly where John's weakest at. John, at the same time, is also super strong at wide receiver. Don't forget, besides Larry Fitz and Julio, he's also got Alshon Jeffrey and he's got Marvin Jones.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, those. I mean, the Marvin Jones has been insane. He's the third best wide receiver this year. And he's going up against the Rams. I don't know. It's really tough to say. And you give the put Brady on there. I really wanted to pick Joey because looking at his team,
Yeah,
I feel like he's going to have a week. But at the same time, John's team is just so stacked in certain positions. And going 4-0 without Tom Brady and then getting him back, I said at one point in time that I was really worried if that happens, that he could go undefeated. I don't want to root against myself. Joey, nothing against you. It's just it was a bold prediction that I made, and so far it's coming to fruition. I think it's going to keep happening. I'm going to give the nod to John.
Okay, we're both going the same direction on that one, man. Yeah, I think this one's gonna be. I think this one's gonna be really close.
Ego stroke.
Yeah, I like the new name. Well, we'll see how it plays out. I think it's going to be Joey's running backs versus Tom Brady and John's receiving core.
Those wideouts.
So, oh man.
Now, if Bortles has a big game and everybody else can sort of kind of come even, I could see John scoring a little bit lower this week. I mean, I think Joey has a really good chance, and I really wanted to give it to Joey, but at the same time, that's got some explosive pieces on. He is back, and he's fucking pissed. He wants blood.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, let's keep moving on. I mean, spent a good amount of time with those guys, but when you've got two of some of the best records in the league, your team's certainly going to be getting looked at quite a bit. So I think the next matchup that we should take a look at will be yours and Derek's. Both of you guys do have winning records. The only other matchup this week that has winning records. So let's take a peek here. Did have a little bit of action on the Thursday night Denver-San Diego game with Derek having Emmanuel Sanders. Only 6 points, obviously significantly less than he's been getting most of this year, and less than I'm sure Derek wants to see. But from your perspective, I'm sure you're feeling pretty good that
I got lucky. I got lucky
on that one. Yeah,
I got really lucky. I mean, in all honesty, if you were looking at the projections before that Thursday game, Derek was projected in like the 130s. It looked on paper, it looked like his team could easily just roll over mine. I mean, those wide receivers are absolutely where I'm weakest at, where I don't even compare to the production Derek's got. Derek's got Antonio Brown. Obviously, he has been one of the best, and Emmanuel Sanders he's the 9th ranked wide receiver, so he's got some juice. But the funny thing is Derek is going super running back heavy this week. Really, really, he's running with 4 running backs.
Yeah. Really going hard on the running backs. But, I mean, looking at who he's got on his bench for receivers, I mean, it definitely makes sense. Cole Beasley and Deshaun Jackson aren't exactly moving the needle for me on must-play wide receivers.
No. Let me ask you something, John. Is Jeremy Curley moving your needle at all?
That's an interesting one. I obviously, I saw that you picked him up. What?
Yeah, okay. Sorry. I was going to say with Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, well, that's the question. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I'd be a little nervous. Obviously, not going to tell you what to do with your lineup, but I think I know. How can you trust Colin Kaepernick at this point? I mean, he hasn't played since last season.
Look at that hair.
I don't even know if he can get a helmet on.
Hair. Yes, that's what I want to see. Is he going to be able to get his helmet on? Like, his hair grew so big so quickly. I mean, it's beautiful. It's like, yes, I wouldn't want to see him with a helmet on. I'd rather just see him throwing passes with that hair. That would be too good. But no, I mean, I picked up Curly just because of that production over the last 2 weeks.
When you picked him up, I don't think we knew that Kaepernick was going to be the quarterback. Or did you know that already at that time?
I don't think I did. But even still, like, I feel I'm not going to, even if Kaepernick comes on out and he does absolutely horrible, I don't feel like he's droppable just yet. I feel obviously the 49ers are not doing all that great. They're making a lot of kind of, I don't know, quick decisions. Who knows if Cap starts and he doesn't do well. I mean, will they go back to Gabbert? Maybe. If they do, I don't know. I feel like those last 2 weeks in that kind of chemistry, 688 in a touchdown, 102 in a touchdown, like that's.
Well, he's obviously broken out as their number 1 receiving option, and I'm sure Cap knows that. And I mean,
but at the same time, at the same time, I feel Kaepernick is the kind of guy that would love to do Torrey Smith, more often. Throwing those like super. I mean, I don't know.
That's how Kaepernick kind of more used to be. He would throw. He's got the arm. He would throw deep balls, but it seems like more recently, like last year when I was watching, like he wouldn't throw the deep ones, or if he tried, they were terrible throws, and he'd throw a lot more just closer in darts to a lot of receivers. But again, I have no idea what to expect with Kaepernick right now, and I think if I was you and picked up Curley, I would certainly hold on to him just to see what happens this week too. I mean, you picked him up, like you might as well see what happens now.
Yeah. I'm thinking I might need to hold on. I don't know. I've got a lot of questions on my roster.
Some questions. It's looking like
Some
a lot of these questionables, right? Most of these guys practice throughout the week, so I feel like you're
Most
okay. Anybody in particular that you're worried about?
Worried about? Not health-wise playing, I guess. More so just how it's going to play out. With Tom Brady back, what's going to happen to LeGarrette? I don't know. Probably he is going to degress. That is just a good overall prediction. But at the same time, they don't really have another goal line back, and I don't think if you were to ask me if that means LeGarrette's going to regress, is he not going to get any more touchdowns the rest of the year? Say no, that's not true. He probably still will get touchdowns. So anybody who gets touchdowns has fantasy value. Just whether or not he is a starter.
I don't think he's going to be getting the production that he had in the first 3 weeks, where he had 22, 29, 24 rushing attempts plus the touchdowns. Yeah, I think he'll probably be a little bit more touchdown dependent, because I don't think that run game is going to be as prevalent when you've got Brady, slinging it around. But he certainly does get those touchdowns, and those are very, very valuable.
The question is I guess down the stretch, who is going to be better? I did use that number one waiver pick on Terrence West, as insurance kind of for this kind of a situation.
Yeah,
absolutely. I've got my two boys is Zeke Sneak.
So good.
And I'm hoping this will be the week Lamar Miller, finally comes to town. He has been, besides the touchdown-less streak, he's been really solid. He was shut out last week. The fucking amazing Minnesota.
Yeah.
But the yards are there. You give him a touchdown, and he's got a good game. So I'm keeping my hope there. I feel the running backs are still one of my strongest points, and the wideouts is where I'm weakest at. That's why I was worried about going up against Derek, but I'm not really. These running backs aren't making me scared, and I don't know what to say.
Yeah, Derek's got Aaron Rodgers. That's always a strong piece to have there. He's got the number one wide receiver. He's got the number one tight end as well. I'm guessing Derek will have to take a peek at his lineup here. I imagine he might do some moving and shaking.
Possibly. I wasn't gonna bring anything up, and that's no.
Well, I think the odds of Derek listening to this podcast and not looking at his lineup, I think the odds of that situation happening are pretty damn low.
Well, I was even wondering if Derek ever listened to the podcast.
He failed that test. Remember that one podcast
That's right.
we did 3 weeks ago where we called him out, and he never said anything about that. So, Derek, for shame, if you listen to this podcast, you will text in the group that you listened to it.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will indeed. You will indeed.
All right. Well, I'm sure you'd probably picking yourself on this one, I would imagine.
You know what? If we hadn't have played the Thursday night game, and we recorded this much earlier, I might have actually picked Derek because I was worried. But I feel like he's either tinkered with it since, or I'm not sure. But that Emmanuel Sanders, that Thursday game, I got really lucky. Emmanuel Sanders was kept out of the end zone, only walked away with points. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think I may have to go Derek on this one, assuming that he does make a little very reasonable lineup change before Sunday's games. But Greg Olsen has been so good, and he's going up against New Orleans, which is probably the worst defense in the league. And Cam
Possibly.
Newton's back as well, so that should be. I mean, he's good with whoever is there. Um, and man, yeah, I think Derek might eke this one out. I could see, yeah, I can see Lamar having a good game for your team this week and finally getting that first touchdown of the season. Zeke putting up a good game, although playing at Lambeau, Green Bay's run defense is pretty solid. So I think this will be a really good test for Zeke Elliott. I mean, he is in that top 3 running back conversation for the season. But it'll be interesting to see how he performs in that kind of environment. But
I would say so, and this is the time to do it because he's going to bye after this game. So I need I would like one. I'd like to keep this train a moving. But if you need to pick them, I understand.
Yeah. I think I would do
friendship somewhat.
Yeah, I think I'm willing to lessen our friendship for a very meaningful pick in our league.
Yeah, well, I understand. See, the thing is I'm still not set. There is one place I am not set in my lineup, and I'm not sure it's going to matter all that much, but I haven't decided about Matt Ryan and Andy Dalton. It's the one thing I'm still trying to figure out.
I didn't even see that. That's a good point.
Because Matt Ryan has been, pretty decent. I mean, he had a tough week against Denver, but then again, that's Denver. They've got the best secondary in the league, arguably. The Legion of Boom, I don't think they are what they used to be. I'm not even sure what the ranking is of Seattle defense. But even still,
they are
not all that.
first ranked against the quarterback.
Well, so he might have a tough time.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on that.
But of course, these are the quarterbacks that they faced: Miami, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and the Jets.
Yeah, they have not played very good quarterbacks.
So there is that. I will just say that even though they are the first, they played
that's skewed.
Tannehill,
skewed.
Whoever the hell who is LA starting? I don't even know.
At that
They've
point.
started like Charlie Whitehurst. They started fucking Clipboard Jesus at one point. And obviously they faced Gabbert, I guess, in San Francisco, and then faced Fitzpatrick. Ugh, God,
not good. So they're first for a reason, obviously, for those matchups. So we'll see how that changes. But yeah, you've got a little bit of thinking to do, I would say.
I would say so. New England's given up a lot of, they've given up some points to quarterbacks, but of course they haven't been giving up points much with Tom Brady on the fucking team. I don't know.
Exactly.
Who knows what's going to happen? Let's move on. I pick me. You pick Derek.
Yep. Let's move on. Right. Let's move on to Jimmy and myself. Both of us are sitting at 2-3, so we're both looking to hit that 500 mark for the season, which would definitely be nice. And I did have Demaryius Thomas on Thursday, so was definitely not happy seeing that game. And
that was quiet, yeah.
Ugh, God, what a garbage. I didn't watch it, but I was kind of following some of the stats, and it just looked so bad. I think they should get rid of these Thursday night games, to be totally honest. They're just such snooze fests. Like, people are not fully recovered from Sunday's games. I just don't think it makes sense, to have these Thursday night games. But I don't know.
Well, the funny thing is I heard an interesting argument where they were talking, if you want to have the Thursday night games, that you have to rethink about how you do bye weeks.
Yeah.
So that, like, for instance, the only team nights are the teams that were coming off of their bye weeks.
That would make a lot more sense.
Like, okay, so even though it is early in the week, those teams have technically had their rest and then some, and like the time to prep for that like specific game. Yeah. So like because I think what the big problem is that, yeah, just like you said, people are injured, not really recovered, not very prepared. Like, so the game a lot sloppier. So the product isn't as crisp as it should be. But at the same time, like, do we all love having Thursday or football during the week? Yeah, everybody loves having football during the week.
Yeah.
So
you just want it to be a good product, and I like
Exactly.
the idea about the bye weeks. That is a good idea.
Yeah, don't give us a watered down product. You got to figure out a way to give us the same product on a different. Maybe make that the London game. Oh, the only time they Thursday games are when they're all traveling and they got it's going to be a fucking crazy game anyway. I don't know.
The time difference would definitely not work in that situation.
No, it would
but
probably not. But
yeah, I like the idea. And Jimmy had Broncos defense going, so 7 points for them. Pretty. I mean, that's a fair outing for a defense right there. I'm sure you want to see Denver get a little bit more than that, but not too bad on that side.
No.
I'm feeling pretty good going into this week. I've got all my guys back off buys. I've got Breeze back in the lineup. Got Jordy back in the lineup. I have a feeling this could be a nice breakout week for DeAndre Hopkins. He's been definitely questionable as far as his performances, especially the last few weeks. And I have a feeling against Indy in probably more of like a shootout style type game that he could definitely break out there. I really like Jordan Howard. The work that he's getting is great. He's averaging really high yards per carry. Not too worried about going against Jacksonville there. I'm a little worried about Carlos Hyde. I mean, I kind of am every week, and he keeps surprising me with better performances than I'm expecting. So cross my fingers that kind of performance can continue.
Buffalo's been kind of friendly to the run. They've been friendly to the running back.
That's a good point. Yeah.
They've been they've been a good defense, but at the same time they're 20th against the running back. Like even just last week they gave up 18 points, 74 on the ground and a TD. So there's possibility. I mean, I'll tell you who I'm worried about in your team if
Matt
we're going to
Forte.
talk about. Yeah,
that's the biggest piece that I'm worried about right now on my team. I don't know what to do at this point. I'm still at the point where I feel like I need to keep rolling him out. I mean, he's Matt Forte. He's the go-to back, for
except
a
Bilal
bad
Powell
team.
over the
last. Yeah, Bilal Powell has been getting
over the last 3 weeks.
He's only getting 4 rushes, so it's not the rushing that's
but
the
he's
big.
Getting,
it's the receiving yards.
Six receptions in the last 3 games, each going 6 receptions. So what? 3 points, just 3 points right there. Plus, he's averaged, I would say, with 2 games with 41 and then 1 with 54.
When you add up,
that's tough to ignore. It's tough to ignore.
Well, you can't ignore it. It's impossible. But the problem is, I've got both of these guys on my team, and they're kind of both, I feel like, at the same value level right now, where I don't think one at this given moment is more valuable than the other, which I think that could change. It seems like it's going more in Bilal Powell's side, but they're both like not people that you're like super excited to throw into your lineup. But I feel like I gotta pick one of them.
Why don't you just roll with it? You could roll with Jordan Howard and Carlos Hyde, which are not. I would say both of them have, well, especially Jordan Howard over the last 2 weeks, but both of those guys are pretty solid.
Yeah, but I mean, I look at my bench and there's nobody else that I'm like, oh yeah, I would love to get this guy into my lineup right now.
I don't know, man. I wouldn't mind getting a Bilal Powell over a Matt Forte. I would say that's probably definitely something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. It's probably the biggest thing I am keeping an eye on. If Powell has a bigger day than Forte this week, there's really no question that I'm throwing Powell into my lineup next week.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And you're also rolling with the Titans defense, hoping that they just dominate, destroy Cleveland because Cleveland is so friendly.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Seahawks defense on my team. That's I can't drop them. I think they're one of the few defenses that you don't want to drop. But I don't like the matchup against Atlanta, even though Seahawks is
Atlanta
good,
is.
But man,
Atlanta is the 3rd ranked against opposing defenses.
Not the
maybe
ideal
that's
matchup.
my. Maybe I should just throw in Matt Ryan just because he's fucking having one of his like amazing seasons this year.
Yeah. So Titans. I mean, going against Cleveland. Cleveland's been so bad this year. I feel like it's at least a safe play, and it could be more than a safe play too. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But Jimmy, though,
well,
man, I am a little nervous about Jimmy.
I'd be nervous about Jimmy. One, I mean, even though you are getting Breeze back, he has got a nice juicy matchup for Big Ben. And let's just take a look at Big Ben over the last couple weeks. I don't actually think we want to take a look over the last couple of weeks, Sean, because now you're going to be really worried.
Oh, man.
44 and 37.
Yeah, 5 and 4 touchdowns, 300 plus each game.
Yep.
My God, yeah, I am definitely worried about that matchup. And the Dolphins they've been just below average defense.
And speaking of Cleveland being one of the worst defenses, they are now facing DeMarco Murray, who has been amazing this season.
Yeah. So I think though that 1-2 punch right there makes me very, very nervous. The only thing that I can hope for the Pittsburgh Roethlisberger Miami game is that somehow Pittsburgh is just up really early by a lot, and he just doesn't have to throw that much, but it just doesn't matter for him. It seems like even when they are up, he just keeps throwing it.
Yeah,
he's a fucking asshole. Yeah,
he's a big asshole.
And then AJ Green, always a threat for a big game there. Amari Cooper has had some big games as well. Everything else I'm not super worried about, but I mean there are some very, very strong pieces there that makes me a little nervous about this matchup. So I mean I'm picking myself, but man, I'm definitely nervous though.
I know. I will say this: I think your team is deeper than Jimmy's team is. However, Jimmy's stars are a little bit brighter than yours. Even though he has a few of them, they do shine a little bit brighter. AJ, I would have to give the nod over DeAndre.
Yeah.
DeMarco, I might have to give the nod over, and I didn't even know who you would consider your best back.
I guess know either. Carlos Hyde, Jordan Howard. I
guess,
know.
Yeah. I think we definitely would say DeMarco over Carlos.
Yeah.
Delaney Walker, I think, is where you actually got him. I think that was a good trade. I think, if you're hoping for DeMarco to have a quiet game, maybe Delaney has a big game.
Yeah.
There are a lot of possibilities. I think this matchup is going to be very, very close. I'm not really sure how to pick this. I think it's possible because you have been putting up average, very, very high numbers. And Jimmy, I'm not sure over the last couple of weeks. I think he's definitely been one of the highest scoring teams over the last.
Look. Yeah, I'm gonna take a peek here. Last week I thought Jimmy had a big week. Didn't he have the huge? Oh no, that was no. He only had 107 last week, and then the week before. He had, where is it? Oh, he had the monster week the week before, 168. Yep. So his team's been pretty up and down, but certainly capable of putting up some big, big numbers.
Well,
what's it gonna be?
Every time I pick against Jimmy, he comes and he fucking takes that big Ben Roethlisberger cock and he fucking smacks me in the face with it. I'm gonna actually go ahead and I'm gonna be picking Jimmy.
Thank you. I am glad. I am honestly glad. I am sick of people picking my team, and it never seems to work out. So I like that you picked Jimmy.
Well, I don't want to upset the Big Ben. I feel every time I do, I pay for it in some way, and no, I'm picking Jimmy. But I think this is going to be. This is my bold prediction. I think this is going to be the highest scoring game of the week between the two of you guys. I think both of you guys are going to put up all the biggest numbers, and that's what it's going to be. I could be wrong. This could be the biggest dog shit game ever.
It can always be wrong.
We've already got Demarius at 3.5 and the Broncos at 7 points, so it's not off to a great start. But that's a Thursday game, and we were just talking about how garbage Thursday games are. Yeah. So I'm gonna pick Jimmy. I would imagine you would probably be picking yourself because your team does look pretty good.
Yeah, I'll always go with myself unless something crazy is out there, like I have 10 people on a buy or something like that. So we move
It
on.
really
We've got just a couple more matchups here. We should probably try and get through this in a reasonable time. I doubt people are going to be spending an hour and a half listening to the podcast when they only have, 12 hours to get to it before football comes on.
pretty much. And yeah, I don't know if anybody in Southern California is available, but John, Papa John Glasgow, what is he called now?
Oh,
The number
God.
fanboy
Yeah.
or something. Fanboy one is having a big sausage fest, meaning it's sausage like penis because it's funny because of penis joke.
Yeah, no food will be served.
No food will be served. No, but there's going to be a big party at his place, and I guess they're going to be going out to some bars or doing something like that. But anybody up in San Clemente, so anybody who's available to come should come if you aren't coming already. I think Nick's actually going to be also in town, but he's going to be up in Temecula at a wedding or something like that. Boo, boo. But anyway, that's going to be a good time. But
Yeah,
hopefully
that's awesome.
we'll have some time to listen to this. I would hope so before we get going. Who else do we have? Do we
We've
still
got
have?
we've got
we done
Nick,
Phil?
Nick and Chris as well. That one's going to be an
Well,
interesting one.
I'll save that one for last. That's the. I don't want to say anything.
Well,
I don't want to piss people off. Let's
Yes, please piss people off.
okay. Let's talk about Misha and Phil.
Misha
Okay,
and
that's,
Phil, yeah. So this will be an interesting one. Misha's got some pieces back in play for his team. He's got Cam Newton finally coming back for him after the concussion issue. So throwing that back in the lineup. And this is one I'll be keeping a close eye on, too, because I have him in another league, Jamal Charles. Played last week. Only had a couple carries last week. Obviously, Kansas City's just slowly weaning him back into play, so you'd expect that he would have a bigger workload this week. I'm also playing him in my other league, and I also have Spencer Ware, so I'm with Misha on this one, throwing him back in because you never know. Even if he only gets 10 carries, he could bust one out and get you a nice touchdown or something like that. So
he's healthy.
Yeah.
If he's healthy, he's the ankle breaker. That guy is a man. I love me some Jamal.
Yeah, he's fun to watch, and it's nice to see him back in the league. Let's see.
Dude,
he's got
wow,
sorry, Misha again going with the double tight end threat, which can't blame him.
It's so crazy to see Jimmy Graham and Rob Gronkowski on the same team.
Yeah, if this was 3-4 years ago, that would have been unheard of.
Unheard of, but it's not unheard of anymore. Yeah, that's interesting, and both of them have been pretty productive recently. He's going with Sammy Coates.
Which Sammy Coates dealing with a little bit of a couple different injuries going on. Last I read about him, he has like a broken finger and something else going on, which it looks like he's going to be playing, but I don't know. That sounds a little painful.
I guess he practiced on Friday, but it sounds like he missed practice a couple other days. So
for a guy that already has enough trouble just catching balls and not having the best hands, I don't think that would be very helpful. But again, I mean, one deep play and you've got what you want for the week out of Sammy Coates.
Yeah, man, this is gonna be. It's going to be interesting. So Carson Palmer is back. He is playing.
A nice matchup, too, against the Jets there.
Jets, yep.
Strong tight end. I mean, not tight end. Strong running back core from Phil right now. I like his running backs.
No kidding. Melvin Gordon was one of the few productive Chargers, other than Hunter Henry. He didn't get a touchdown, but I think he did get some yards in the ground, got 9 points. Travis Benjamin,
that's a tough one. That hurts.
Yeah, 0.5. That really hurts. So, Phil's already, down 2 players who are finished, and they only got you 9.5.
Yeah.
To combine.
Yeah, that lowers the projections a good bit. So that's, a little bit of a hill to climb to make up for that, but some good pieces in play, though. I mean, Jordan Reed, always a huge, tight end play there. Doug Baldwin has been putting up some big points.
is Jordan Reed going to be playing?
That's a good question. Yeah,
Um,
he's man. Yeah, he had the concussion situation going on.
yeah,
He
he
didn't
practiced
practice
Friday.
all week, and was supposed to visit a doctor last night, trying to get cleared. So that's definitely going to be one to take a closer look at. I don't think you can just close your eyes and assume he's going to play tomorrow.
Yeah, and funny enough, he's got Bennett on his
Ooh,
bench,
wow,
so
he's got
not
some
like he's got a
options.
scrub. Yeah, he's got options. Man, he's got Michael Floyd and Terrell
Terrell
Pryor on
Pryor,
his
man,
bench.
Phil's got a nice little team there. It's yeah, rough for him that he's one and
Yeah,
1-4 right now.
unfortunate. Yeah, and unfortunate that Benjamin only got him point 0.5 because I
Yeah.
bet you at least out of Michael Floyd and Terrell Pryor, one of them is going to get you better
Yeah, you'd think
than
than
point
one
0.5.
catch. Yeah, exactly.
Jeez,
So,
that's really unfortunate.
I think
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to give this one to Misha. I mean, it's a little bit of a easier call to at least to make, just given that Travis Benjamin only had point 0.5 points, and Misha still has his entire. Oh, I had his kicker already go, who got 8, which that's fine for a kicker.
Yeah,
But I mean,
I think you're right. I think I'm also going to go with Misha as well. The only way Phil, I feel, can pull this one out is I do feel that the pieces Phil has left to play, they're going to get a lot of points. And if Misha puts up a goose egg, he doesn't produce, like I could easily see Jamal not really getting like 7 or 8, not having
Yeah.
any big plays or being really quiet. I could easily see Gronk or Jimmy Graham, not producing. I could easily see a lot of these pieces just not working out. But I just feel right now, the way it looks, Misha should be poised to take this one.
I think Cam
Yeah.
Newton might be the big wild card. Not the wild card in like, oh, what's he gonna do? But as in the deciding factor of this matchup, I could
True.
see Cam having a monster game against New Orleans.
He
always
easily have a
does.
monster
He
game.
always does in the past, and it's in the comforts of the Superdome, which a lot of points happen in there. So that could be a big matchup. Big points for
True.
Cam.
Yep.
So, all right,
Yep.
well, putting it both up there for Misha, so that only leaves us one more matchup, which is the what do we want to call them? The bottom dwellers, the basement dwellers.
You called them the bottom dwellers last
Yeah.
week. I can't remember. I remember Nick called me earlier this week, and I can't remember what he called it. He was just had a lot of names for it, and I
Yeah.
think Chris had a lot of names for it. Let's just say this is going to be a feisty matchup. 'Cause
Yeah.
nobody wants to be in sole possession.
Yeah, somebody. Well,
Actually,
probably,
wait a minute. No.
Unless if Phil loses, he could be in last place too. But well, all we know
yeah.
is that between the three of them, not all of them are going to be 1 and 5. Somebody's going to have 2 wins, and we don't know
Yeah.
who it's going to be yet. But I'm sure they're all scrambling for it. We know Nick's had his frustrations this year of his team just not being able to be consistent enough to get him the wins week in, week out, and he's had a lot of points put up against him as well.
Yep.
Um,
Mike Evans is on bye. He needs everything he can get, and he's losing some pieces. He's still got Odell. He's still got Kelvin. And Kelvin's now, like we were saying, now he's got Cam back in a very friendly matchup at New Orleans.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know. This is gonna be
Interesting to see Arian Foster might end up playing this weekend.
Well,
Actually,
the thing is if Arian is available and Arian's playing, you play him. And if he goes out and if the game that you play him, he goes down with an injury, it's like, well, that was kind of the risk. Because Arian Foster can get you points. That's just what that guy does. He's always been a really productive football player. It's just, can he stay healthy?
Exactly.
No, pretty much never can stay healthy. But while he's out there, hey, he could get you a win. And if Nick's hungry for this one win, hey, that might be a good piece to play in. What else are you going to put in? TJ Yeldon?
well, interestingly,
Devontae
he's got Justin Forsett, who is like the main back for Detroit right now that Theo Riddick is out for this week. So there may be an option. Maybe that's what Nick's thinking. If Arian Foster does not get the nod to start, he'll put Justin Forsett in. Maybe he'll put Yeldon in. He's got some options though, but definitely he's got to keep an eye on that one. And Matt Stafford is always a question mark in my book. He can put up 25, 30 points one week and then come back with 11 points the next week. So it's like, what are you going to get from Stafford? You just never really know.
Well, technically it's supposed to be his off week, but there's
yeah.
that's
not
a real thing.
For anything, he's been very week on, week off, very consistent
on the even
there.
weeks.
Yeah,
every even week is a bad week for Stafford. No, that's not a real thing. But yeah.
LaShawn McCoy has been a beast this year, and is probably going to have a big game against San Francisco. I would feel pretty good about that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, but at the same time, we're looking at Nick's team, and he's got some pieces. Chris has also got some scary pieces. That Le'Veon is
Oh yeah.
That guy is no joke. And against Miami, I feel Le'Veon could have one of his 40-point days if he wanted to. That's ripe. Andrew Luck against Houston with no J.J. Watt. I'm not sure. He's been playing better of late. The last 2 weeks he's been in only one interception the last 2 weeks. So one turnover period over the last 2 weeks. So I don't know. Andrew Luck could have a decent game. Chris is running with a lot of other interesting pieces, though.
I would say very interesting this week. His team looks completely, well, not completely, but very different from how it's looked in the past. Jesse James, a new addition.
Jesse James, yeah.
He's just going on the Pittsburgh Roethlisberger train and hoping he can, get some of the meat that falls off the Roethlisberger bone. Cameron Meredith.
Cameron Meredith. That's interesting. I mean, huge game last week. 9 receptions, 130 yards, and a touchdown. I don't know. Well, maybe that continues.
That could be a good one too. And Tevin Coleman. Yeah,
that's a big surprise. But he's the 6th ranked running back. Other than 1 week, he's had double digits in every single week.
I could see him having a good week if. Seattle is usually really good, just generally against the run, so that might open more opportunity for some little check down passes to Tevin Coleman and some goal line work possibly too.
And much to your displeasure, other than 2 weeks, Will Fuller has actually been pretty damn decent. He's been taking all that DeAndre love away.
Exactly. And he already had C.J. Anderson, got him 8 points. I'm sure he was looking for a little bit more than that, but at the same time,
I was over. Yeah, I was watching the game with him.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think my headset is going to be dying in a little bit. So that's
not the worst timing.
Not the worst timing. Okay, fuck. Let's go ahead and get this pick out of the way. Care of. We'll pick the dog fight game. Which dog are we going to take?
I think I have to take Nick on this one. I just think if you look down his lineup. It gives me a little bit more confidence. I feel like he's got more consistent players, more big names on there as well. The matchups look decent enough. It makes me want to go Nick's way on this one.
I do think Nick has got a lot of favorable matchups than Chris does. For some reason, though, I'm feeling all this tinkering is gonna end up helping.
Yeah.
Either totally help or totally fucking Chris. So this week I'm going to go with helping. I'm going to pick Chris. I think Le'Veon is going to have a huge week. I think a lot of these other pieces are going to come through. He's rolling with Tevin Coleman. That might end up rewarding him. So we'll see what happens.
Awesome.
I'm going Chris this time.
All right. Well, we'll have some good Pick'em results to look at next week. We picked differently on 3 out of the 5 matchups, so we'll be able to check that out. It's been pretty close between me and you on the Pickems. We're only separated by 1, so it'll be fun to keep that going. And we don't have to wait very long to see what happens. Only half a day away.
Oh, yep, absolutely. So everybody enjoy enjoy your Sunday. Be safe, and I guess we will be seeing you next week for the reviews, right?
That's it.
All right.